let's see, Lucia, Ben, Matt, and Tiffany. Thank you so much for joining me today. Congratulations on Jessica's Big Little World. It's a
Thank
fun
you.
series that's spinning off of Craig of the Creek. Why don't Tiffany tell us a little bit about it?
I am so excited. I think we're all very excited for y'all to check it out. Jessica's Big Little World, like you said, is a spinoff of Craig the Creek. Jessica is Craig's little sister on Craig the Creek and on Jessica's Big Little World. Our show focuses on Jessica's day-to-day life as she tries to overcome her challenges as a little kid as she's trying to become a big kid. So she has a lot of big kid problems that she's trying to conquer, and this is
And
a preschool show.
yes, yeah, absolutely. There was a lot of fun little moments of. I think what I really liked about it was she's trying to complete these tasks that to us as adults seem very arbitrary and very regular, but they're really big and really like large, and they seem like mountains that she needs to conquer. Lucia, tell us a little bit about voicing her and about her and what she's facing in the series.
So Jessica, like Tiffany said, is a little kid, but with the help of small uncle and big Jessica and all of her family and friends, is trying to become a big kid. It's been really fun to be able to voice her because she has so much energy, so much creativity, and it's just fun to be able to like not really have to be something I'm not. She kind of is similar to me. Like if I were to like take myself, my personality, take it up to like 100. She's funny, she's a little bit crazy, but it's fun. And like I said in the beginning, it's just about her becoming a big kid and learning different lessons and developing different skills in order to do that.
Yeah, and in developing her character, obviously we saw her before and on Craig of the Creek, which is done very, very well. Matt and Ben, was it set up in a way for a spin-off to happen, or did that kind of organically happen as the series progressed?
It was
Go ahead.
yeah, it was pretty organic. It was not something we necessarily had on our radar, although we loved Jessica and Tiffany was vital in creating that character. She did the earliest episodes with Jessica and really helped us figure her out. But it was the network who approached us with the idea of expanding into this spinoff with Jessica, and we were super excited to embrace the opportunity to reach a younger audience with this. Craig is 6 to 11, but this hits even younger kids, introduces them to the world, and then maybe they can graduate to Craig someday. But Jessica is a pretty awesome show in its own right.
Ben, if you want to talk a little bit about what do you guys love so much about working on shows that are targeted to younger children?
It's really fun to look back at your own childhood and remember the things that excited you, that filled you with wonder, and tell stories about that. And it's also just really so much fun working in animation because just the medium itself, it was something that, yeah, filled me with awe and made me imagine all sorts of worlds as a kid. So it's just it's such a great opportunity to work in this space. But a lot of the time, like the funnest, some of the funnest times is when we're just coming up with the story ideas for the shows and the episodes, and we're in a room with the artists and the writers and sharing stories about our childhoods and drawing from that. And that's just so much fun to just bond and also find something that's relatable, hopefully, to somebody else.
And how do you guys balance that out? Because you really it's your imagination is endless, especially with animation. You can take a situation, you can add Big Jessica, you can really go anywhere. How do you guys kind of contain that into to make sure that it works for kids? Tiffany.
That's a good question, especially with the the imaginary characters that we've added. So on like just like on a practical point of view, right? Like Craig of the Creek is beloved. Jessica is a set beloved character that people are familiar with. Now to add these other characters, these imaginary characters, Small Uncle and Big Jessica, one example of like how we contained it was thinking about what is working, what do we like already about Jessica's the original concept. Now how do we grow that, not change it, but like just add to it. So Small Uncle and Big Jessica are in Jessica's imagination, but we don't break the reality that we are already accustomed to. Other people can't see them. We understand that these folks exist in Jessica's mind. Also, they are not in any way able to directly affect her life. So I think creating, you know, rules that are just for us that we kind of stick to, but also maybe rules of a game, just parameters for us to play, helps us sort of like stay in a realm that things don't veer all the way out, that you don't that we don't recognize what we're doing. We want to be able to feel like this is the same kid, same world. We're just maybe stepping into their bedroom, whereas we were always playing in Craig's space. We are in now Jessica's space, and here's how her brain works.
And speaking of parameters, I'm always curious, especially with preschool shows. I've covered a few in the past. How do you guys control the pacing? Because you only have so much time to keep their attention, to get them engaged in what story, before you can lose a kid for maybe for good. Matt, if you want to
Yeah.
talk a little bit on that.
Sure. I think I feel like in our experience, we've actually learned to slow down a little bit. Like we have to get to what the episode is about, but I think some of our early things we learned early on in moving from doing Craig to doing Jessica is that we have to be able to slow down and make clear the story and the messages we're sending to kids. And once we're able to do that and have kids track the story, then we can let loose with the jokes and everything. But yeah, I mean, that's just, I think that was our big thing we had to pick up when adapting to the preschool audience.
Yeah, it just seems like quite a challenge, and it's always interesting to me to see you guys are able to overcome that. Lucia, where did you find your voice for Jessica? Did you try different things? And then ultimately what landed her voice that we hear in the series?
So Jessica's voice is mostly my regular voice, but you just add on that extra little like bang, you know? Sometimes I do silly voices, sometimes I do monster voice, sometimes I do like the high pitched, I'm so excited squealing. It's based off my normal voice, but then you add on all the different elements of like what's happening, what's she thinking, what's the situation like, that kind of thing.
And what is it like also in the writers' room when developing a show like this? Because we see in the different episodes different tasks that she's trying to accomplish. She's trying to become a big kid. She's trying to become like the role models in her lives, which are her family, which is great. But we see like bathroom etiquette. We see like her toys need to be cleaned in another one. What is that process like to determine these are these are some of the tasks that we want to share with the world?
Sure. The writers' room experience on Jessica and on is the writers' room experience on Jessica is very similar to the one that Matt and Ben built on Craig and encouraged on Craig. We first, I think before getting to arrive to an episode, we first get to know each other in the room, understand where everybody's kind of interests are, what they're but not necessarily in like checklist of getting to know you, but just organically through conversation, sharing our experiences. So then on Jessica, that foundation of sharing our experiences, sharing funny stories that have making each other laugh every day, and also then thinking and listening actively, what was so funny about that? And also affected you about this experience that you had when you were 4? And then getting way down to the boil center of it, that we all had an experience like this that had different details, but like the embarrassment was the same, or the encouragement was the same, or the happiness and joy was the same. Give that to Jessica. And also then, to your point about the preschool pacing of it, there is an easy way that we could present this and say, I am so, my toy is so dirty, I need to clean him. But then there's a more specific way that then Lucia adds also with her talent, that we try to provide in the writers' room, this very specific stress that is like that is tailored to a person's personality, that like you use specific expressions to say, I like cannot deal with how dirty and stinky you are, and messing up and saying, calling him small onion when he's small uncle, and you feel that Nicole is real when she's saying that. She really didn't mean to say that, but small uncle smells, you know. And that stank that you put on a line like that, that's kind of something that happens in the writers' room. Whereas maybe in another universe, we'd say, Jessica, your toy is so smelly, my dear. We say, girl, that's stanky. That's kind of our vibe on Jessica and Craig.
Yeah, those are some fun moments. A lot of stinky moments in a couple of those episodes.
Yeah, we're smelly. We're into smelly moments.
One last question I did want to ask you guys about the style of animation, because we've seen it in a couple of series. Ben, what makes this style of animation so adaptable and so great for a lot of these shows?
I think that I think the look of Jessica is very special, and we wanted to create something that was just super inviting, and that's a big thanks to our art team. And actually Tiffany can really speak to that, because she helps hone that with our art team.
Sure. And yeah, Matt, let me know if you have any thoughts on this as well. That when we were developing the show style for Jessica, again, speaking to what was working about Craig, side note, we look a lot to what works on Craig, because we wanted to invite whoever was interested in Craig to watch Jessica. And then if you like Jessica, there's more of it on Craig. And because we love this world and we want you to love this other world, it's a big little world that you can get into. So when we were working on the visuals, we thought long and hard about this warm feeling of magic that is in everyday spaces, whereas Craig's warm magical feeling is at the creek. Jessica's warm magical feeling is at home with her family. And the folks who really brought this home are art directors Benjamin Anders, our design leads Nick Wynn and Santino Loscano. These are the core design team that like looked at this. Oh my gosh, and Scott Forbes too, I should mention, really brought this thing home to something that looks stunning. And they put a lot of thought into what literally every scene that we see.
Well, thank you so much for this big little call that we had here to talk a little bit about Jessica's Big Little World. It's a fun show. I'm sure preschoolers are gonna love it. I liked it. I had fun with it. So thank you for your time and getting some insight on it, and we'll hope to see you all again.
Thank you so much.
Nice meeting you.
Thank you.